Giant's lightweight TCR race bike has been updated for 2024 with a lower weight, more aero design and stiffer chassis. The major news is that the front end is now fully integrated with not a single cable on show, but there's also a new fork and new wheels. It's a massively popular bike and is often seen as the way to go if you want a lot of bang for your buck. But are these changes enough? On first look, it seems like a case of marginal gains and minimal change, but let's get stuck into the big news before Warren brings us his first ride thoughts. In fantastic news for all of you weight weenies out there, the Giant TCR is said to be lighter than the old bike, with the Advanced SL model weighing a claimed 1.358 kilos for the frame set. Being the SL model, this includes the integrated seat post, giving you a claimed weight saving of 38.43 grams over the 2021 model. Giant tells us that this weight saving comes down to several new state-of-the-art production techniques. And the first is, according to Giant, a new ultra-precise cold blade cutting technique that replaces the laser cutting process from the previous generation. Now, this apparently leads to fewer and more precise pieces being used for a lighter overall frame weight. Though, a quick note, this is limited to the SL frames only. A single inner bladder is then used in place of the old frame's 3 to create a one-piece front triangle. Now, Giant claims that this further minimizes frame weight without sacrificing stiffness or aerodynamics. At the front end, you'll also find a new stem that comes with some feathery weight claims. The Contact SLR Aero light stem that comes on higher end models weighs a claimed 123 grams for a 100mm length, while the aluminium Contact SL weighs a claimed 161 grams. There are also new wheels, with Advanced SL bikes getting the recently launched Cadex Max 40 at 1,249 grams. They feature carbon spokes and Aero hub flanges. But lower end models get the new Giant SLR 40 wheel set, which also features carbon spokes, a similar rim profile, and comes with a claimed weight of 1,339 grams. Despite the weight loss, Giant says that the new frame is stiffer in key areas. These are, according to Giant, frame stiffness, which determines the amount of overall frame and fork torsional flex under load, and pedaling stiffness, which measures the lateral flex of the bottom bracket area when you're giving it some welly. Most of the gains in stiffness are said to come from modified sections of the head tube, down tube, and bottom bracket areas. The net result is, Giant claims, an uncompromising race bike that delivers explosive acceleration and unyielding pedaling stiffness. The result, Giant says, is a 0.53% improvement in terms of frame, fork, and pedaling stiffness for the SL model over the 2021 SL model. A marginal improvement, but an improvement nonetheless. Giant is also very keen to shout about the very fancy Cadex Max 40 wheels, which launched last month, and alongside it, the Giant SLR 40 wheels, which both get carbon spokes. These wheel sets come with data that claims that they've got better stiffness to weight ratios than comparable wheels from Zip, Lightweight, Roval, Bontrager, and Syncross. Along with the weight savings, Giant claims the new TCR is 4.19 watts more efficient than the 2021 model at 40 kilometers per hour. Now, the most noticeable feature which will be aiding this figure is the neatly integrated front end. The TCR uses a semi-integrated cable routing design via its brand new Contact SLR Aero light stem and the 160 gram Contact SLR handlebar. Not only does Giant claim that the integration is more aero, but it's also apparently adding flexibility by allowing extra cable length during assembly, making it, they say, easier to adjust height using the headset spacers. The fork has a new D-shaped steerer tube that we first saw on the Propel before it moved over to the Defy. But that's not all. It also has a new crown and aerodynamic leg shape that was developed in conjunction with the down tube. Now this, Giant says, also features a new truncated ellipse tube shape for improved airflow. As before, the Giant TCR Advanced SL uses an integrated seat post, while the Advanced and Advanced Pro models get a more common two-piece system. Giant says that all of the tube shapes were developed using computational fluid dynamics, or CFD, with the result being a new airfoil section that Giant says consistently lowers drag coefficients at a wider range of yaw angles compared to traditional teardrop frame shaping. Giant's testing of the TCR took place at the GST wind tunnel in Germany, and it used a dynamic dummy, which according to Giant more accurately reveals the aerodynamic effects of the rider while pedaling. This also means that the testing included wheels that were spinning and a drivetrain that was moving rather than static. Giant says that the most significant gains were achieved in the down tube, seat post and fork shaping. To ensure real-world performance, Giant says that it designed the aerodynamic flow around the down tube with 500ml water bottles fitted. The new Giant and Cadex wheels add, Giant says, to the overall aero savings with a redesigned hookless rim profile which is 22.4mm wide internally. Now this, Giant claims, creates a seamless interface between the rim wall and the tyre sidewall of a 28mm tyre for which they are optimised, though there is no external rim width stated and no aero claims attached to the wheels. If even wider tyres are your thing, then the bike will now take 33mm tyres up from the old bike's limit of 32mm tyres. Pricing seems to be a mixed bag depending where you are in the world. At the base of the price structure, the Giant TCR Advanced 2 remains at £2,699 in the UK, but in the US it's up by $200 to $3,200. Meanwhile, at the top end of the scale, the Advanced SL0 with Dura-Ace costs £11,999 or $12,500. That's up from £10,999 or $12,200. The bike that I was riding in these shots, the Advanced Pro Zero, is $6,500 in pounds and dollars. That's £500 or $250 more than before. Full pricing details are over on BikeRadar.com if you want details for a specific model or region. Now, 28 years ago, when the original TCR was launched, it was revolutionary. In recent years, though, Giant has had a conservative track record for developing the bike. Simon recently wrote an excellent article exploring what he would love to see from the new TCR, so let's have a quick game of check what he was right about. This will be fun. Simon wanted to see better aerodynamics and he got that. He wanted a more progressive rim design, another check there. Space for wider tyres, check, but Simon didn't want to see integrated cable routing. That has happened, unfortunately, so there's an unhappy Simon. He didn't want to see a threaded bottom bracket. He argues that a press fit system, if done correctly, is better. Giant has stuck with press fit, so another check there. He also wanted to see the end of the integrated seat post, but Giant is seemingly wedded to that. So the final score is 4 out of 6 for Simon's TCR wish list. His article also points out that the bike currently sits in a bit of an awkward position. The Propel, which is Giant's Aero race bike, is a faster machine that gets very close to the UCI's 6.8 kilo minimum weight limit. So racers are likely to pick the Propel because it's much faster and they can't go much lighter anyway. The TCR seems to be stuck between the faster Propel and the UCI's minimum weight limit. So with bikes like this, the Specialized Athos and Trex Amonda, surely it's finally time for the UCI to reconsider this outdated rule. I would imagine that a good chunk of you watching are TCR owners, and I'm really interested to know whether you like the look of this new bike, and is the update enough for you? I've made a poll over on our community tab. There's a link in the description, or just leave your thoughts down in the comments. Right, I got to ride the TCR Advanced Pro Zero model when we were shooting the ride shots for this video. I must admit that it was a delight to ride, but we were just sessioning a few lanes. Warren Rossiter, however, has been out in much sunnier climes, and so I thought I'd share some of his ride thoughts. Firstly, he said that it's an impressively light bike. His large test bike with 2 bottle cages and an out front mount tipped the scales of truth at just 6.42 kilos. Even adding his time pedals only shifts that up to 6.68 kilos. Weight aside, the best thing is, Warren says, that they haven't broken it. It's still the TCR that he knows and loves. Now, the handling is perfectly balanced, he says. Warren's told me that the cornering is very, very direct, and the bike responds with a willingness you only get from a super stiff frame set. Yet on the smooth Taiwanese tarmac roads, which I'm very jealous of, it's an impeccably comfortable machine. Don't expect a sea change in performance. The TCR was already a benchmark race bike, but this new bike just refines and polishes everything that's good about the design. It doesn't shift the bar into the stratosphere, but it's certainly, he says, the best TCR to date. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you like the new TCR, then give this video a like. And if you love a nice Giant TCR, then why not check out Simon's long-term review of his nice 2021 model. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.